unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. When the grass is cut, the snakes are show. But I gotta thank the little homie Wilder for that though, saving me the hassle of speaking to half these assholes. Oh my God, Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, former WBC champion of the world, says he's removing people from his team, the quote unquote snakes from the team. I'm tired of these motherfucking snakes on a motherfucking plane. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. If you want to become part of the gang notification gang, please hit the bell icon. Shout out to the super chats, channel donations, the Venmo donations, the Cash app, and the Patreon family. We working. Head over to Patreon. Shifting some of the content on Patreon and also for YouTube channel members. So head over to Patreon. There's a tier system outlined, fresh, started from scratch, so it should be pretty straightforward. Great way to help the channel and get some different content. You guys will see the different tiers, or you can hit the join button below next to the subscribe button and become a YouTube channel member. I'm doing different things for the Patreons and also YouTube channel members. Great way to help the channel. Another way is to click the link in the description box and sign up for ESPN Plus. We're pushing the bundle right now that includes ESPN Plus, Hulu, and Disney Plus. All three apps, one price, $12.99 a month. And it does help the channel in a crazy and phenomenal way when you guys click on that link. Right now, people are on lockdown, urged to stay at home. Hopefully you guys are abiding by that. If you want to catch up on some great content, that's it. ESPN Plus, Hulu, Disney Plus, tons of content. Disney owns like everything. So check it out. See if you guys like it. I have all three personally. And also it helps the channel, helps us continue to grow. I'm a one-man band, so, you know, that helps the channel in a tremendous way. Let's get it. Deontay the Bronze Bomber Wilder, on the interview with the PBC Weekly podcast, he says something interesting. He says, quote, "I'm getting rid of all the snakes in the grass. This time has allowed me to dig in the weeds and see what was going on." He says, you can have a lot of great people around you, but you can't control the jealousy of people. You think people are happy with you, but everyone wants you what you have, but they don't want to sacrifice as much as you. He goes on to say, people are envious of the things they can't have, and I had to weed out and change certain things. We've had a lot of people reach out, but you have to be careful because some people, they just want publicity. He says, and he's responding to all of the named fighters who have probably come out and said they want to train him, spend time with him, give him advice. Some are good, some are, you know, he's saying are just after publicity and stuff. He said boxing is very crooked. It's a dirty business and you've got to be careful. It's a corrupt sport as well. You got to be careful with the people and their intentions, especially when they weren't around before. Boxing is a business like no other. You got to be able to trust people, and that's the hardest part. I am looking to bring someone in. We don't have it down yet, but I've got two people I'm bringing in. One of them always comes to camp on some basis anyway, and we got a great team that will be formed and everything gets back to normal. Now, you know, I got some connections, man. And what Wilder said, Wilder, I'll tell you this, man. Wilder, from what I know, is really about what he says he's about. Like I said, you know, I'm West Side connected, you know, like Ice Cube. And Wilder's, everything he said on that podcast is really what's going on, you know, from my understanding. Basically, Deontay Wilder feels there's people, and I'll let him, you know, go into it further, but he feels there's people that are involved in or around his camp, you know, spend time around his camp, and they don't truly have his best interests at play. You know what I'm saying? Like, two-faced, if you will. That's a good word. Two-faced, like people where, you know, just things aren't on the up and up. And that's what he's kind of depicting. So what he's saying is absolutely corresponding with what I've heard. You know, he believes that there's people within his team, or was people, that will be removed because, again, they're not keeping it all the way solid. And he feels that, you know, people move for different reasons. And what Wilder's going through is real life, because the unfortunate part of it all is that's how envy and jealousy works. Wilder's girl is bad, you know what I'm saying? So he got a bad girl. He making crazy millions. He's knocking people out and getting all the accolades and, you know, fanfare up until his last fight. You know, he was pretty much knocking out everybody. And, you know, people see that from the sideline, whatever their role is, where you're, you know, whatever, trainer, water boy, sparring partner. And then just think about it. If you're a fighter and he's, you know, hottest chick in the game, wearing my chain, that's right, ho. You know, he got the hottest chick in the game. You know, he got a bad girl, knocking people out. He does things different. He does things his way. He's outspoken, moving the culture. Like I told you, battle rap is a real culture, hip hop in general, but a subculture of that would be battle rap. And battle rappers were really messing with Deontay Wilder. The reason I know is because they were using metaphors and puns and Wilder punchlines. You know, Loaded Lux, Battle Rap Hall of Fame, actually came out with a whole dedicated song about, you know, To This Day, which is coined from Deontay Wilder. So when you're receiving that type of infamy and attention, it creates different feelings, you know. And I know for a fact, because I know people that it's the same thing when I started doing YouTube. See, you have to understand, and this is why, you know, situations can turn left, you know, like even in the Nipsey Hussle situation, you know, God rest his soul. But what the thing is, let's say you from the hood or whatever your section is, right? And when you're trying to make it, then that puts you on the level playing field with everybody. Everybody's just trying to eat. Everybody's trying to make it. So you're grinding, they're grinding, and nobody's actually come to, you know, nobody's actually arrived yet. So that doesn't make people jealous, because you guys are all in the thick of it. You're all in the hustle. You slinging your mixtapes at the mall. But if you're a rapper and then Universal picked you up, they said, hey, we want to bring you in for a meeting, and then you blow up and you got songs with Roddy Ricch and, you know, you're on the radio and stuff, then how do you think the other people are going to feel that you was, you know, grinding with, because they didn't get looked at or they didn't get picked up, you know? And then when you got obligations, you got commitments, like you're touring now, you got to do the Jimmy Kimmel show, right? Different things like that when there's no pandemic, and they still in the trap, still in the hood, still, you know, working a regular job or hustling in the streets or whatever. And that's when the envy develops and gets more and more, because they see you moving and they're at more of a standstill. And instead of for me personally, I ain't got no hate in my heart like that. Hate takes too much energy, takes too much time. I got stuff to do. But the thing of it all is it don't, like, if the hater invested some of that hate into energy, kinetic energy, making some kinetic energy about his hustle, then he'll get a lot farther than hating. Hating ain't gonna take you nowhere. Hate, you can't pay your bills with hate. You know, you can't call Sprint or AT&T and say, hey, I'll pay you with some hate in 2 weeks. You know, please don't cut my phone off. You got to promise to pay currency, cash, you know, dollars, pesos, right? So hate don't get you nowhere. But that's how it goes. You know, when people, because a lot of people have this problem. I personally don't, and that's one of the things I've been blessed with, and that's the gift of self-reflection. And if you can look inward and see what you're doing right or wrong and criticize that and check yourself at times so nobody else got to do it, you know, then you well on your way, because at least you being realistic. You're like, hey, nah, I could have did this, or I should have started on this 7-page essay instead of the night before. I should have been working on it. When you can hold yourself to some standards, that's the best way. But a lot of people they struggle in that arena. They don't do good in that, looking at, they want to blame the world. Oh, it's my job, it's their fault. I got a manager, it's his fault. It's the world's fault. My ex broke up with me and left me in debt. It's always somebody else's fault. And the people that are like, they let things happen to them instead of making things happen, they're the ones that don't get as far in life. So, I understand about that hating stuff. Deontay Wilder probably did have people in the camp that, they're down for the ride, but then when you start winning, they're still down for the ride because there's trips involved, or I get to come out to Vegas because it's your fight week, and different things like that. But then you lose and everybody's making fun of you, and people are making memes, or like you're not in the limelight. Then that's when you start to see people's true colors, because they just there to use you. Two-Face, they there to use you for the ride and stuff like that. And people say it's just two-faced behavior. It's just what the world is. But I think ultimately, in the example that I gave earlier, when you make it and somebody else doesn't, it's almost a testament to your hustle and their lack thereof. And it forces them to look at themselves and look at the error of their ways and realize, like, damn, you know what? Like, this person is better than me, or this person hustles better than me, or this person, made the things happen. So how do you think that makes them feel about themselves? But again, for me, my mantra is this: when I see somebody, they especially if I know them or something, and they made it, that makes me want to up my game. That don't make me want to hate on them. That makes me want to up my game, and like, damn, there's really money out here to be made. Okay. Things like that, rather than hate on them for doing what they're doing. Like, I understand there's certain isolated instances where people, they all like make it and do you wrong or something like that, didn't pay you back, or, some stuff like that, or you really owed them in some type of way or variable, and they make it and they switch up. So there are isolated incidents like that, but I think Wilder's going through what all fighters go through. I think Sergio Maravilla Martinez, he said, when I won against so-and-so, I had 131 missed calls. Like, after it was like Sergio Martinez said, after I knocked out Paul Williams or something, I had 131 missed calls. Right? So everybody was calling his phone like, yo, won't. Giving him praise and congratulations because he had knocked out Paul Williams or whatever. He said, when I lost to Cotto, by stoppage, he said I had 2 missed calls, and they was both from my mama. I was like, damn, that puts stuff in perspective. But, I know I probably fudged up the quote a little bit, but you guys get the gist of it. When Sergio Martinez, when he's on top, when he's winning, he had 131 missed calls. Everybody want to sing his praises and, tell him he the man, and I'm so proud of you, and I knew you would make it. He said when he lost to Cotto bad, he had 2 missed calls, and they was both from his mama. So that was deep when he said that. When Sergio Martinez said that was deep. That really put stuff in perspective, because that's how the game is. Your mama, she carried you in the womb and stuff like that. So hopefully you have a good relationship with her. And, that's real to me. That's real. You had all these people who's like, it's fake love. But your mom, that's unconditional love. That don't go nowhere, So I think Wilder's just experiencing that. When you're on your journey and you knocking everyone out and winning, people just happy to be there, happy to be along for the ride. But then you lose, and then now you start to see little stuff, and like you start to pay attention. And see, the other thing, this is partly Wilder's fault too, and if I'm just being honest. And here's why. Because we get busy, and once you start making it like Wilder, sometimes you put the blinders on to what's happening. Like, you could have snakes, like he said, snakes on the plane. You could have snakes in your camp, and guess what? There was always snakes. There was always red flags. But what happens is you are moving it and everything's good, so you don't take an extra second to look and see the red flags because everything else is positive. So you're like, you know, and you don't look into it and examine. But I firmly believe that, like, women that get in relationships with dudes and then they say, oh, I don't know what happened, and Johnny was different, he just changed when we had a kid together. I don't believe that most of the time. I think there's a honeymoon stage where people date and things like that. And, you know, they might be on their probation period or their best behavior for 90 days or whatever. So you might not know everything about a person that quick. But if you were with the motherfucker like 2-3 years before you ever had kids, and you live with them and stuff, and then you had kids and said the person switched up and changed and, you know, was abusive or did this, I think a lot of those situations where the person was like, you know, guys, like, let's say the guy's a cheater. That's a great example, right? Even abuse, I'll start with abuse. If a guy later turns out to be abusive, there were probably some sign, and I'm not blaming the victim here, but I'm saying there's probably signs that the guy had a bad temper at some point beforehand, right? But people, like I said, they look at these situations and they're in love, or, you know, the good at the time outweighs the bad, so they overlook the red flags. Like, okay, this dude, I remember we went to the movies and he snapped at me, you know, boom, 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 boom. Not me, but you guys get what I'm saying. Like, a girl could remember times where, you know, his temper was kind of bad. Or let's say cheating. If a guy later turns out to be cheating, there was probably red flags of this behavior, but people, they look at life through a rose-colored set of lenses, and then when it's bad, you're forced to look at all that's bad and then look in detail. So, you know, part of it could be Wilder just based on the pure fact that he had people in his team, but he was winning, so there was no reason to necessarily be extra observant and go above and beyond. But if somebody's two-faced, or if they're a snake, then there's probably red flags there. But you overlook, and we as people overlook these things, you know, trying to see the good in people, especially when things are going good. But then when things are going bad, you get to see stuff that was probably always there, but it stands out more because you're trying to analyze what went wrong or what happened, if that makes any sense to y'all. So, you know, I hope Wilder cleans house and gets his situation right, adds some people to his team. Like he says, this is all comes with the territory. So I'm not bothered by this. This doesn't change Wilder Fury 3. I think it's still a good fight. This is purely what happens. You know, I'm sure Tyson Fury probably had this too, to a degree. Tyson Fury, when he lost all his titles, had to relinquish his titles, did drug bin, people that was riding with him, you know, all of a sudden probably fell off. You know, I know at least he fell out with Mick Hennessy, you know, for whatever reason, and stopped working with him. You know, so I'm sure there are other people where, you know, that's what happens. People want to be surrounded by winners and not quote unquote losers. So it's just what it is. You get to see people's true colors at your lowest points. You know, like, you go, just think about this. I'll leave you guys with this. Think about a low point you've had in life and think about how many people really reached out. But if you post something on Instagram like, oh, you know, I'm nominated for a Grammy, then everybody's like showing fake love. Oh, this is so cool. Da, da, da. But then let's say you get sick with COVID or something like that. Then see how many people actually check on you and hit you up and see. And those are the real people. The people that do that, those are probably the real people in your life, because they're concerned and, you know, they want to tap in with you, see how you're doing. So just think about that. And I suggest you guys, this is just life lessons. You know, we just dropping some gems. I suggest you guys look at your situation and look at life and determine who's real in your life and, you know, who can be cut out. That's why I keep my circle small. I really do, because I don't have time for fake love, you know, because I don't reciprocate love like that. You see what I'm saying? Like, where I'm an all in or nothing type of person. If I commit to anything, then that's what it is. I'm riding. That's just who I am as a person. So that being said, I can't do one-way streets, or, you know, somebody who have 1 foot in, 1 foot out, 1 foot in. I can't do that, because that's not how I operate. If I'm riding with you, I'm riding with you. That's just what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Wilder said he got some snakes on the plane you got to get rid of. We'll see how it all plays out. I'll leave Wilder to do some more talking, but you know, just real life lessons in here. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you love what I'm doing, smash the like button. As always, hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off.
So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button, and you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.